Shelley. I'm the sports editor, Randolph Leader, here with another edition of Chat with Matt, here with Coach Strain of the Woodland Bobcats. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing well.
Good deal. Well, Bobcats are getting ready to head up to, I guess it's northwest Alabama somewhere?
Northwest, pretty much as far as you can go that way.
Taking on Colbert Heights in the first round of the playoffs. We'll start talk a little bit about the season y'all had. Playing in that tough region, once again making the playoffs. Talk about what y'all were able to accomplish this year.
Well, really this bunch has been a pleasant surprise for us this time. We knew that we had a bunch of young kids coming into the season. We lost a big senior class last year, and that didn't really have 12 players that were juniors and seniors combined. And so therefore we knew it was going to be a tough season on us having to play all these young kids. But our kids really have responded real well. You know, going into the start of the season, if you told us that we'd be in the playoffs and first round of playoffs, I think that my whole coaching staff would be willing to say right off the bat that that would be a surprise, or that would be a pretty tough goal to reach, especially playing in the region that we play in. And our schedule is a tough schedule as well. You know, when you open up with Bowden, you finish with Welborn, and then you got my region that we're in between. You know, we just had some things fall together, which we did have some injuries, but we knew that if we had some injuries at key spots that it wouldn't be possible throughout the course of the year. But we've been pleasantly surprised, and I really think our kids have improved. I think we've gotten better in the last several games, and I made a comment a while ago to Coach Buddy that our practices has finally got to the level of practices that what we've been wanting to have since day one of the season. We really practiced terrible most of the year, and it's just because our kids are so young didn't understand what was going on.
And they finally caught in towards the end of the season.
They finally have caught on to a lot of the things that's going. Practices are just, in the term that Coach Buddy used was, practice is just so much smoother, so much, you know, just when you're running your offense and your defense, that they're moving where they're supposed to be moving, backs handling the ball better, steps out of the quarterback, and receivers catching the ball, and our offensive linemen taking the proper steps. And it's really took us this long to get to where we're at now.
Okay. We always talk about how tough this Region 5 and Class 2A is. How do you feel like playing those caliber teams is going to help you this week in particular?
Well, it goes back really not just this season. It goes back to years past. And I think it goes back to when Clay County was still in our region, and you had Lineville and Randolph County being as good as they've been in the past years. It is really up to the level, you know, of play in our region, simply because that in order for you to compete, you had to get better. You know, otherwise you're staying at home during playoffs times. You know, we're fortunate enough this is our 8th year making the playoffs, and that it's just the competition level again is so high that in order for you to not get blown out in every football game, you understand where that level of competition is going to be, and the level of play, and what kind of execution it's going to take in order to strive to get there. And I think it's been a real benefit for everybody in our region. I know that a lot of times we get beat up or we get hurt, or you don't have a perfect record. Very rarely do you have a perfect record in our region. But generally, for most part, if you go back and look at the history of the last couple of years, or at least the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, teams out of our region, well, you can really go farther back than that. I think it's 15 out of 17 years the teams out of our region has played a state championship game.
Wow.
So, you know, you just pretty much got to come through our region to make it. Now it's Tuscaloosa and Auburn, used to Birmingham.
Okay. The one thing we've been talking about all season when I interview for the paper every week was about your depth and having to play a lot of youth this year, and kind of hoping that y'all remain healthy for the majority of the season. And it seems like y'all have taken some lumps and have been banged up here towards the end of the season, but somehow y'all just managed to keep on top of things.
Well, tell you how bad we were hurt, especially last week against Welborn, which we didn't go into the game this way because we got into the ball game, and actually one of my offensive linemen got a concussion and had another one with separated shoulder, and then another kid had a torn MCL all in one ball game. Well, we look out there, and all my offensive linemen, there's not a single one of them was on the field that was started for me 2 weeks ago. So that's about as dramatic as you can get. Plus, I've got several of my skill people that are hurt as well, and maybe get one of them back this week. There's another young man that is still debatable yet. But for the most part, since last week, we tried to patch him up. I think we've got, I know the Lonzo Cummings kid, he's out for the year. He had surgery. And then I've got one young man that's in the skill department there that probably won't get to play. But I've got Christian possibly back this week, which he's still planning for surgery here in a couple of days. So maybe we can get, for most part, most of our kids back, and that's going to be a lot of the key to our success this week is how many kids do we have back, how many kids can we put on the field, because we're already very young in all those positions. Now you're dropping down to somebody that's just hasn't been able to start a junior high game, much less a varsity game.
Right. All right. Well, moving on to this week, specifically Culver Heights. What do you know? How do they match up with you as far as experience, and what are they looking like?
Well, as far as the experience factor, I think they've been in the playoffs the last several years. I don't know what length of time they've been in the playoffs. I know that from the research that I've done, that they have not been real successful up till about the last 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. And I think their coaching staff and change has affected that. I think the way they approach things are different now. I think that the offense that they run is they run the Tony Franklin system, and they're probably we do the Tony Franklin system to some degree in our pass game, but they're more pure his system. It's what they do. So it's not like we're going to be unfamiliar with them, but it kind of fits their kids that they got. They got a good quarterback that can throw the ball and some wide receivers that can go get it. And up front, they're extremely big. They're a lot bigger than we are. They're going to dwarf us in size, to be honest with you. The key is really in our game is, and the point is can we stop their offense, because the quarterback throws the ball so well. Then you look on the other side of the ball. We feel like we can score and move too, but I don't want to be one of these 50-something to 48 games that we have in the net this time.
Okay. So offensively, what do y'all feel like y'all are going to be able to do to move the ball on them?
Well, they're bigger than us, and so that's going to be a big factor. I really don't know about the speed factor of the game. Normally when we go in a game, we are the slower team. Generally, most teams have better speed than we do. But I think the speed factor is going to be a little bit more closer to even or to our side. The speed of the game, I think, is a little bit faster than what play is up there. So it's really going to come down to on offense. Can we get to corner? Can we run inside the tackles as big as they are? There it comes back to the injury factor. If I'm going to have some healthy folks in there to try to knock some of them big old guys out of there. So it's really going to depend on several different factors on the offensive side of the ball. We have a good night throwing. Are we able to throw the football? In which we try to practice all phases of the game to try to be prepared. If they can't do one thing, then we try to do something else.
Okay. Talk about the effect of playing on the road in the first round of the playoffs versus playing at home.
Well, anytime you get on that bus, there's always a disadvantage to the team that gets on the bus. Because one, if you're playing at home, you've got your home crowd, it's your familiar surroundings. You have the same typical routine that you go through every single week. And football is about a sport of routine. Coaches, you hear football coaches say, I don't like to be out of school during football season.
Right.
A lot of people take these fall breaks. I'm against fall breaks. The simple reason I'm selfish, I guess, to some extent, dealing with football. But football is a routine. Mm-hmm. You're going to practice a certain time of day, every single day. You're going to do things a certain way. And I think it has to do the same thing with playing home and away. Now, there are some upsides to that too, though, when you get on the road. Some of these kids get to go to different places they've never been. We're going to get on a chartered bus. And, that may not be a big deal to a lot of people, but for the most part, we take charter buses every year. But we try to make it a little more special when you go on the road in the playoffs, and you're going to get to eat out and go to different places. And I think there's a little bit of a positive side to actually traveling, because when you have to travel a long distance to go play somebody, it kind of puts your team on one particular bus, and they get to focus a little bit more, and they kind of get amped up for the game instead of sitting in school all day long. So I think there is some plus side to it.
Okay. All right. Well, Coach, I appreciate you. Again, Woodland will be playing at Culver Heights this Friday night. Kickoff is at 7 p.m., correct?
7 o'clock.
Okay. Well, Coach, good luck to y'all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Second round.
All right.